Hey guys, welcome back
Right.
to another episode of the Harbor Site, and this one is actually kind of serious, and it's about catfishing. So here's a quick story. I, a lot of us, like myself, Tim Kennedy, and if you've got a big profile and you're in the military, for some reason people steal your stuff and then they pretend to be you. And so, anyways, I got a call from a detective. And this happens all the time, and so I called this guy back and said, hey, what's going on? I'm happy to help. And anyways, come to find out, this woman had been having this online relationship with this guy for like 6 months, and she was in love with him, she was in love with me, and anyways, been sending this guy money, and come to find out, they traced the money, and I guess they got the FBI involved, and they were finding out that some of this money was being funded overseas to some terrorist organizations, which I thought was like, well, isn't that a slap in the face? Like,
how ironic.
How ironic, yeah. So I wanted to talk briefly about a couple of these things and invite my good buddy Clint Emerson, Mr. Hunter Deli Skills, to the show. Thanks for joining,
Nick,
buddy.
how you doing?
Good, man. And,
Yeah.
Have you ever been catfished?
Yes, I've been catfished, and I went ahead. Once I realized it was a catfish, then I went ahead and played along with it. And this was all on the side of Escape the Wolf.
Right.
Just so that I could then collect all that information, the tricks that they use. And I just played victim, and it was fun because then I basically put together, the do's and don'ts when you're dealing with somebody online, especially now. And this was years ago. Now, I mean, online dating and everything has advanced so much more,
Right.
and they have put in a lot of security features, but some of the basic rules to follow still apply.
Yeah, so actually last night I got hit up. I got messaged a bunch of image. I guess one of the dating sites is Bumble, and apparently I'm on Bumble. I didn't know that.
Nice.
Oh, it's a funny thing. Oh, so let's listen to this. So we have a local coffee shop right down the road, Sundial, and so Allie goes in there, and Allie goes in there, and the owner's like, "I need to talk to you." And so she goes, "Okay." So they go in the little back room and they sit down. She's like, so I don't remember exactly how it went down, right? But
A woman in Sweden is talking to Nick.
yeah, it's like, I just need to let you know that Nick is talking to a woman in Sweden. And,
boy.
yeah. And she goes, so no, that's called a catfish. And I guess her daughter had even tried to tell her, explain it to her that this is what catfishing is. And so yeah, but hey, good looking out on her. She's trying to take care of Allie.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. But no, it's kind of crazy, man. So they have. I mean, I laugh, but it's sad. They had Photoshop photos of them together, like had taken photos of me and faking photos of her, and then
created a photoshopped image, like someday we'll be together. I love you.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Insane, yeah.
The girl years ago, her name was Helen, right? And she hit me up. She's in Canada, and it started with this total distress, and it came through my Escape the Wolf website, right? And it was like, hey, I was almost murdered. I'm a single mom. Blah 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 blah. Sob story. I responded with, all right, well, here's some little defensive measures you can use, maybe this, and this to make you feel a little more secure. Then she came back with another piece of the sob story and kept me engaged. And at that point, I'm like, all right, there's something else going on here. Then eventually led to are you single? So she went from she's in total crisis to you are single within 2 or 3 very short replies, right?
Yeah.
And so at that point, I realized, oh, all right, this is a straight up catfish. I went and looked her up. I looked at all of her online stuff, and all of her pictures, once you downloaded them and actually zoomed in, you could see around the jawline and in different places that, okay, this face has been photoshopped onto that body or into that environment. I mean, this woman went to great lengths to look and appear as this blonde girl, that was attractive, but it wasn't her, right? So anyway, at that point I was like, all right, I'm going to play along with this shit. And so, we went down this path. She was sending all kinds of stuff, and every single one of them was a fake head on a body, but done really, really well. Like at first glance, you would be like, oh, all right, this is, you think it's real, right? Until you download it and you zoom in, and then that's when the pixels they burn themselves the minute you download it and actually look. But anyway, the back and forth went. I let it go on for probably a week or two, and the whole time I was in collection mode, just going, all right, leave this, and comparing what she said on that to a previous statement, and then eventually got to the point where I called her out on it. I said, hey, so, I know that you are not the person in these photos, and I know you're not the person on all your social profiles. And the crazy part of this, the extent these people will go to, not only were all her social profiles fake, but all the friends and family that were connected to those social profiles. So the 100 friends that she had on her private Facebook, all 100 of those were her.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying?
The effort to go through this.
Yeah, and it turns out that after I kind of, did some other stuff, this is a bored soccer mom. There was and when I finally called her out and said, so why? What's the why to this? You're never going to meet me in person. That, like, this is all fake. So what is it you get out of this? And it's boredom, entertainment, and needing an emotional connection. And a majority of the folks that do this, if they're not doing it for money, they're doing it because they just need something in their life.
So that's what I
crazy.
I thought that, initially when people did it, I'm like, okay, it's some, overweight somebody that just is not out. Either that or they're just unhappy, right? There's somebody that's just unhappy and they're looking for attention. And that's what I thought the majority was. But then when I started, hearing this, actually a malicious intent. Have you come across, do you think that the majority of it is just people that are unhappy, or do you think that there's an active malicious intent with people that are out there doing this?
Yeah, I think it's probably 50-50. I think you have people that create avatars and live through them, just like a game, except they're doing it as close as possible to real life. And I think the other 50% is a scam. It's some way of, scamming someone, scamming money, scamming, gift cards, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The best way to get money. But I think, I think it's probably an even split, because I think you've had it where you get hit up, and when you really dig and look, just out of curiosity or boredom, it turns out that it's all fake, or we label it, it's fucking Chinese or Russian spies. They've got a hot like model body, profile picture, and it's like, hey, how you doing? It's like, yeah, fucking Russian spy. Exactly. It's a fucking honeypot. It's a honeypot trying to get you to give something up or whatever.
They're all trained, and I don't know how it, is in for the world, but in our circles, it seems like if you're a special operations guy on social media, someone's copying your account.
Yeah, and I've had
and
go ahead.
And so, and what's crazy is I report them, right? I'll screen grab them. I'll report them through social media. I'll report them to Instagram and Facebook, and they constantly come back and say, well, they're not violating our community guidelines.
That's crazy.
And right. And so here we are in a world living, obviously with the pandemic and everything that's gone on, as we move forward down the years, we will only become more reliant and more living through the internet. We've seen that, even not the last 2 years, like we're heading that direction where dating apps and, social media, and people are going to, like you said, avatars. And, now they're talking about, virtual reality and the meta universe and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's only going to continue to happen even more.
And people are allowed to identify as whoever they want. So why can't they? I want to identify as Nick. I want to identify as Clint.
Right. So
that's right.
Because those things are happening on and on, and we report them, and there's nothing that we can do about it because it's their platforms, and they say it's all good. What can somebody do to protect themselves from being a victim of being catfit? Not necessarily like there's nothing I don't think we can do about unless we just got off social media and like disappeared.
Yeah.
But like if what can the 50-year-old grandmother do to protect herself online, or if people are dating online, what are some red flags that they can do to really protect themselves in navigating the online world?
Yeah, I'd say number one, there's several warning signs. Number one, too good to be true, right? Deep down, we all know. It's like if you're an ugly dude and you got all of a sudden the supermodel kind of going, hey, like, come on, look at your track history, and you've got to like do, and then, track history, look in the mirror, is this real? Because if it's too good to be true, then it probably is just that. And so if the person you meet on social media is stunning, attractive, be especially weary, right? Catfish will usually use photos of another person who is really good looking. And so that's the bait. And then you get hooked emotionally through conversations. And so that's kind of like that point where you have to, just look for what's real and what isn't. But if it's too good to be true, then it probably is. No real contact is number two, right? Every time you say, hey, let's meet for a coffee, my daughter's got to go to the hospital, or they've got something that comes up every single time.
Hey, let's FaceTime. Let's video chat.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's FaceTime. Let's use technology. And my phone's broken. My camera doesn't. I mean, there's a camera on a laptop. There's a camera on your phone. There's cameras everywhere now. I mean, it's getting more and more difficult for an excuse not to.
The screenshots that I see of these women that will send them to me, they're always like, they ask that, hey, let's video chat, and they're like, oh, I'm downrange in a secure location. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
I was downrange in a secure location. We video chatted all the time.
Right. Yeah. And what's crazy is like you don't know what you're talking to, so there's no real contact. There's no real interface. It could be the same sex. It's like you just don't know what you're talking to, which is crazy to me. Yeah. The new or incomplete social media profiles, right? Like, if you're going and really looking and you're seeing that, oh wait, they don't have too many pictures posted. They don't have any likes or interactions going on. I mean, no different than what a lot of your jobs do now. If you're going to go interview for a new job, I mean, the first thing they do is go look at all your social.
Of course.
It's become now part of your credibility of who you are as a human. And so if you don't have any of that going on, or it's impartial and incomplete, then, that's another sign.
I mean, that's a good point. Like we hired people, and of course we check their social media profiles. And at this day and age, if you're hiring somebody that's 20, 21 years old, I mean, you literally can go back to look at pictures of them as a child.
Yeah.
I mean?
No kidding.
Like you've got
what I do too is great chronological order for a private one is you can go to the profile. Let's say it's private, especially Facebook. You can go to their profile picture and scroll left or right.
Right.
And you can see, okay, click, scroll. Okay, they changed your profile picture more than 24 times over the past, let's say, 5 years.
Yeah.
That's real. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas you go to the others and it's just profile picture and you can't scroll left or right. Well, you know what? That's because they either don't use Facebook or they don't exist.
Because they only have one. They only stole one photo.
Yeah. The other thing is the interaction, the initial interaction. It's usually a sob story of some sort. I'm down and out. I need money. I'm down and out. I've got some kind of issue going on and I need your help. And so it's either going to try and They're trying to hook you emotionally so they can get to the money, or they're just trying to hook you emotionally just so they can continue to have that connection with someone because they don't have it in their real life. But the sob story is always part of their ploy, you know?
Yeah.
Once you start digging, inconsistencies, right? You know, once you start seeing red flags, good to take notes and try to catch them in those inconsistencies. Casually bring up a few pieces of information they told you a while ago. It's usually going to be different than what they've told you in like that current conversation.
Yeah.
Because they can't keep track of their own fucking lies is what it boils down to. So
right.
You've got to like stay on top of that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
It's the, so the funny one that's not, I mean, that's what the story I see is a lot of the ones like, cause I have pictures of my kids and stuff and they're like, well, you know, I'm either divorced or, my wife died and I'm a single dad and I'm a special operator and I'm out here trying to save the world and be a single dad at the same time. And they're like, oh, that's so sad. But that's typically how they start out with that story. Yeah.
That's it. That's the sob story. And then the last piece I think is great that you can do these days is reverse Google image search.
Yeah.
Right. You can go to Google, type in reverse image search, upload any of the images they've given you, and then it will, I mean, if they're using images off the internet, which they are, then you're going to see a cascade of matching images. It's going to be the same face, but on the real body. You know, and it'll be some supermodel out of Yugoslavia that no one's ever heard of, and you'll see 1,000 of her pictures, and then you'll look at the face and go, oh, that face has been attached to all these other fake, you know, environments, you know. So it's that, but yeah, that Google reverse piece is great. And I've got it, you know. So anyway, I went through the whole process with you know, quote unquote Helen, and kind of, you know, that was really the common denominators that I just listed that, you know, that you'll see used in a catfishing. You know, it's, you know, just quick snapshot to review it because we kind of just blew through it, but too good to be true. No real contact, whether that's in person or FaceTime. New incomplete social media profiles. The big fat sob story. Inconsistencies with what they've told you in the past to what they're telling you now because they can't keep track of their lives. And then ultimately things you can do is reverse image search and call real people to confirm. Yeah. You know, in the conversation, they say, hey, I'm whatever. I work at X, Y, and Z. Call that place and ask, does so-and-so work there? You know, because the odds are they don't. So make sure in conversation you're actually picking up on the things that make someone real. Do they have a job? The pictures they send you, you know, the family that they have connected to any of their profiles. You know, go click on all that stuff and you'll know pretty quickly whether somebody's real or not. But I've got a funny story like yours that I was sitting next to my ex-wife at our daughter's cheer competition a couple of years ago. I don't use dating apps. She does. And so she's sitting there and she's scrolling and I'm sitting right next to her, shoulder to shoulder, and boom, my face pops up on her phone, right? And she's like, are you on Tinder? I'm like, fuck no. I don't do that shit. And she's like,
that would be horrible for you to be.
And I was like, no. And she's like, and then we look at it. I'm like, well, go ahead and swipe left or right or whatever the hell it is. It means you like that person, right? And then within a minute or two, she gets the swipe right or left on the receiving end that, okay, this guy is interested, that, you know, the notional me is interested in her as well. Yeah. And so the rest of the time I'm like, oh, we're going to have fun with this dude. So, you know, this is a woman who'd been married.
Like, just give me your phone.
Yeah. And so we're like just messing with them, you know, cause she was married to a SEAL to me for, you know, 14 years, been in the community. She knows it all, right? Yeah, right. And so we started just having fun with this guy, and eventually he disappears off the app once she calls him out. And but yeah, I mean that type of stuff's happened a couple of times where people I know see me on dating apps. But the more serious story that's like yours, was the opposite. Somebody using all my profile pictures and stuff, created an identity. I get a call from it started from a detective in Arkansas, and he's like, Clint? I'm like, yeah. He goes, Clint Emerson? Yes. He's like, yeah, this is, Detective so-and-so. And, this is going to sound strange, but we got a call to a halfway house, and there's a dead male, and everyone in the house is telling us that this dead male is you. And I'm like, well, it's not me. I'm sitting right here, just fine, And what this kid had done had been on dating apps, traveling. Everywhere he went, he said he was Clint Emerson to everyone. Introduced himself physically that way. And it amazes me. I don't know how many times that I meet someone, I don't immediately go Google them to see what they look like.
Right.
Every now and then I will, just to, but that's more to learn more about the person, not to determine an identity.
Yeah.
Or to compare pictures to, the human standing in front of me. But so this guy had been telling people in this halfway house as he traveled cross country that he was me. I had several women hit me up saying that they were scammed by him. Then within a day or two, the FBI calls and says that he was on the run for stolen valor, that he had been telling everyone that he was a SEAL and the Bronze Stars and Silver Stars, and he had put it on job applications, and he'd been on the run for literally years, and ended up in this halfway house. He was a veteran, but just pretending to be me, and ended up ODing and died. But everybody in his life thought that his name was Clint Emerson, retired SEAL, blah, 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 blah.
Very sad.
Nuts.
And it goes back to what you're saying. It's like they're just unhappy with who they are as a person, so they want to be somebody else instead of making themselves better. Yeah,
I know. I don't get it, but I think a lot of it, like I said, 50% was emotional, and the other is mental, emotional. It's all connected.
You don't have to answer this question, but why do you think that these platforms, your personal opinion, why do you think these platforms are just like, nah, it doesn't go against our community guidelines, we're good?
Yeah, so the times that it's happened to me, which has been, I don't know, a couple of dozen over the years, somebody will tell me about a fake profile, and then I will you've seen it, and I've seen you from time to time, you'll post a picture of the profile and say, hey, everybody go report.
Yeah.
After that part, I kind of move on. I've never really looked back and see, did it go away? And, I'm assuming that when you
usually if I report it, they'll give me a notification back, whether it was taken down or whether it was not. So that's what I was talking about. So like, I'll get a message through like Instagram saying, hey, we didn't do anything because it doesn't violate our community guidelines.
Oh, no shit. Yeah. I always tell people to go report. I never go to their profiles. Yeah. Like somebody will send it to me and then I'll go, okay, go report it. But I don't report it myself. So I wouldn't know what the social media response is.
And because I know it obviously, because Tim posted a bunch, all the time. It's always happening to him, and he does the same thing. They're like, comes back and it's like, nah, it's good. They're good.
Yeah.
But then I
figure as long as
some of the other stuff we talk about, they're like, no. I'm like, but I can. I can pretend to be. I guess I could be Clint. I can be Clint Emerson if I wanted to. That's okay.
We can switch roles for the day.
Switch roles for the day. Yeah. Well, good, man. So I just wanted to do a quick one and be like, hey, you need to as we move forward in the this age of the internet that we're all living in, and whatever avatar and color that we
snowflake shape,
color of unicorn that we want to be today. That people are being smart with their online security and privacy, and
don't send anybody on the internet fucking money.
Yeah, stop sending.
That's right.
So it's funny. So when I met Allie, I think I met Allie through Instagram, and one of the very first conversation. She's like, "Why don't we video chat?" And I was
smart.
I was like, I don't know you.
I'm like, I don't know you.
she's like, yeah, we're not really talking any further until we get on a video chat. And but she wasn't playing. She was like, I'm gonna make sure you are who you are.
I don't like that shit.
And anyways, so there you go, video chat. But yeah, as you move forward, we move forward in this internet age, like people need to protect their identities and especially guard themselves of who they're talking to or who they're dating online, which to me, I don't think there's such thing as dating online. I think it's, you go on a date. That's maybe that's dating. Talking to someone online is not, in my book, dating, but whatever.
That's not what you said.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, man. It's what is it? Reagan said, "Trust but verify." But I think no, don't trust, and just always verify.
Yeah, don't trust, just verify. Yeah,
yeah.
He didn't see. I don't know if he saw the internet coming. What it is today. Anyways, well, thank you, man. Where can people find you? What's Clint got going on?
Yeah, my whole ecosystem is over at ClintEmerson.com. And I will send you a link to, this catfishing article I put together.
Oh, that's right. We'll put that in.
It's been a long time. Yeah, so some of the information is dated, but it'll help some people. At least.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description in the show notes so that you guys can find that. But 100 Deadly Skills is his account. That's the pop-ups that you've been seeing. Definitely check out all. I mean, let me tell you something. I was basically almost a career special operator with the Marine Corps, and even I get a ton out of his books, his 100 Deadly Skills books, and then also
The Rugged Life, which is available for pre-sale.
Go buy The Rugged Life.
Right.
That's right. Go get The Rugged Life. Get that on pre-sale. Let's get those numbers up, and then you also got a kind of an autobiography out, right?
Yeah, the right kind of crazy. It's just like I always joke about it. Bad decisions make for great stories. So it's a book full of bad decisions.
Clint, I've known Clint for a while. Clint makes a lot of bad decisions, or he used to anyway. It's a really fun book. The art in it, all of his books has a lot of art. So for all of my non-reader listeners and watchers, it's basically just a picture book. So you'll be all right. All my Marine followers.
Yeah, exactly.
All my Marines, you guys can go get his books. You guys will be just fine, because I am.
Yeah, people will relate. That's for sure to my stupidity. But appreciate it coming on. Good
and
to
then
also,
Can You Survive This Podcast? One of the best podcasts on the market. I did episode 5, I think.
Yeah, you were one of the early guys.
Yeah, it was fun. It was very, very fun. So basically on that podcast, Clint offered, ask a series of, it's a story, and every it's like Choose Your Own Adventure, for those of you who remember those books back in the day. And you kind of have to ask them, you give some answers, and the story continues. And the goal is to survive.
That's right.
And not everybody survives, but it's a very, very fun podcast. I got a lot out of it. So go check that out. Other than that, go follow Clint. He's a great American, great human being, and a dear friend. And other than that, we will see you guys on the next episode.
All right. See you later. Thanks, Nick.
Yep. Clear? All right.
Hey.